we've got Sheldon here on the podcast today. You run a US construction recruitment company.
Yeah.
So you've moved to Dubai quite recently. So tell us,
Mm-hmm.
why did you decide to move here, and what do you think of Dubai?
What's there not to like?
Paradise, absolute paradise.
Dubai's been really good so far. I mean, I've been here for 5-6 months and starting to get settled in. There's 5 of us over here, but yeah, moving abroad was something that I'd always wanted to do. But it's just a case of getting everything in order. And I mean, yeah, I've wanted to move abroad for probably about 8-9 years. So
amazing. Well, congrats.
Yeah,
It's definitely the best place on earth to be living now for business, for recruitment, for just the people you surround yourself with. So maybe let's rewind a little bit and tell us why you decided to start a business back in the day, and how's that been going for you?
Yeah. So every time I interview people, I always tell the same story and I always go back to the beginning. And I think it's important to do that so that at least you get an understanding of what I'm about. So very normal, went to always interested in business. When I was at school, I was selling sweets at school and kind of like doing a lot of entrepreneurial type of stuff. And me and one of my friends were selling stuff on eBay. Wanted to get into, I guess I was thinking about whether or not to do law or what to kind of go and study. I ended up doing business. I kind of felt that it was a topic which I could transfer into pretty much anything. I think when I was at university, all I was really doing was going out a bit too much. I was playing football, which to be fair was good. And I was working at the same time. So I was working selling service plans for a car company, which actually in the end helped me get my first job. Decided that I wanted to move to London. So I was down in Kent, decided I wanted to move to London, started applying for jobs. I actually wanted to start my own business before going to university.
What kind of business?
Anything. Yeah, no, literally anything. So, but didn't have any money. So I started applying for jobs and then got contacted through Total Jobs, got a phone call, went up to London, interviewed, got the job. And to be fair, I did know about recruitment. Somebody came in and done a talk at the university. And when they described the traits of somebody that would be good at it, I thought, yeah, okay, sounds like me. But again, this is over 10 years ago now. So this was in 2012. And it was kind of 12 years ago, yeah.
Getting old.
Yeah, no, I know. And the guy that came and done the talk, it was, right, make 6 figures really quickly. And of course, my head was thinking, okay, yeah, great, that sounds good. But yeah, got interviewed for the job. The company that I joined at the time were probably about 16, 17. So reasonably small, but still large enough where I walked in and was like, okay, this is pretty serious. Back then, everyone wore suits to work, and this company were based in London Bridge. So I was commuting to London. Hours were really long, kind of what you'd expect from a very typical recruitment company. So large call targets. But to be honest, the environment I worked in, I went in as a resourcer. I actually happened to shadow one of the owners of the company. So that was a very valuable experience. And to be honest, even he was quite a decent mentor, because I just watched what he was doing and I was more concentrating on the learning than I was actually worried about the money. Of course, I needed the money to live, but yeah, I then decided to. I was actually commuting for quite a while.
From Kent.
From Kent, I actually lived in Brighton for a bit as well, and I was commuting. So I was waking up at 5:30 and then getting home at 8:30. So that was pretty ruthless, to be honest.
Now your life's kind of swapped the other way, where you probably wake up at around 10, 11 and you worked into the night.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason why I tell this story is because I think during that time, and it's something that probably I find that people can relate to, is I wasn't even sure I even wanted to do recruitment at this point. So, I mean, I was doing it within construction. I wasn't necessarily bought into construction as an industry necessarily. I didn't know anything about it, so I was learning as I went along. I enjoyed the actual job, but for me, I was learning, and again, it was kind of like mastering, I think, just the sales side of recruitment. But I just knew that long term, this wasn't a viable option. So I was there for 3.5 years. I wasn't completely happy with the culture of the business. I very much enjoyed the going out stuff, which was great in your early 20s, and particularly if the company's taking you out and you're going getting steaming on a Friday night, and everyone's, by the time that I actually left, there was about 60 people. So it was good fun, and everyone was in their early 20s and earning decent money. But I was more interested in, first of all, I wanted to go to the gym, which I've mentioned to you before. And it was just impossible because we were working, I think it's 7:30 till 6. And it was just going to the gym in London after 6 o'clock at 7, 8 o'clock. It's just not, it's not fun. So yeah, I kind of looked at the situation. I had some really good clients, and then just started to, there was just a lack of flexibility. And again, I think going back to that time, most recruitment companies, there wasn't this kind of like element of working from home. Not that I was even that bothered about that.
There wasn't any, and some companies you wouldn't even have a laptop. Like there was no way to access your emails or anything even from your phone sometimes. So you had no choice but, if you wanted to work on a Saturday, come into the office and everything. Yeah. So it was very different times. So exactly. Everyone should be grateful for the flexibility now. It
was completely different. And so I started looking at avenues, and then I met somebody through someone that I knew that had an office in Liverpool Street, and he also had a few different businesses which he was involved with, but they were more solo run recruitment companies. And I was 24 at the time, so recognised that there was, whilst I was doing well in the recruitment, there was a lot on the business side that I actually didn't know and needed to learn. And there wasn't anybody in my previous company that I could have gone into business with, or at least I felt I could go into business with. And the motivation behind doing my own thing was more about the freedom than it was about the money. I actually couldn't care less about the money at the time.
Yeah, you just wanted to go to the gym, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it was just, I wanted to be able to go to the gym. I was interested in traveling and stuff, and I knew that I'd come down the line. But yeah, so I was like, right, I need to get the hell out of here. I met this guy. To be honest with you, he was great. I was actually with him so I would say he was an investor, but he's probably, I would say he was more of a mentor. So when I was at the first business, it was more a mentor on the recruitment side, and he was more of a mentor on the business side. And I actually made it my point to just watch what he was doing. So had some good relationships with some clients. To be honest, I was doing about 200k just from one client, so that was enough to tick me over.
More than enough.
And
for a 24-year-old.
Yeah, that was fine. That was fine. And then I was just I was living with my mates, and I was just going out a lot, but like managing the actual business. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I was just actually trying to just make some money. And then,
but you were just on your own, you didn't have any employees?
I was just on my own. Yeah.
So when and how and why did you decide to actually scale the business and start hiring?
I went to China for a month with one of my mates, and whilst I was there, not an issue, but most of my business was coming from one client, and the time zone's just completely off. So I was getting phone calls, and the problem was, because I built up to a point of having a good relationship, I wanted to deliver for the client. I thought, I can't have this, because I have to drop everything at a drop of a hat to go and fill this. So I was there, and I thought, I need to actually get someone else involved in this. And my friend from school, so he's one of my best mates at school, who actually ironically sold the sweets as well. We both did it together, and we both we both sold stuff online as well. He was he'd moved down to London, and he was working ironically in construction, kind of, for a building services company. And I just said to him, I was like, look, do you want to get involved in this? I'll teach you everything. And just to be honest, it was more just, I'll teach you. I actually wanted to work with a mate, and the idea was I would give him the clients that I had, and then I would concentrate on business development. So he came in, this is back in 2017, And I've been on my own for about a year and a half because I started the business at the start of 2016. And yeah, what happened was after 2 months, the client just went in, well, they stopped recruiting. They pretty much went internal. So that was not ideal. So then me and him were just kind of like, right, okay.
Time to BD.
Yeah, let's see what we're doing now. Now, essentially we had a niche because the niche was that client, but this is the mistake that I made going into it, because I was starting a business with a frame of freedom, which is fine. And everything was all in my head, but I didn't build a database. There was certain things that if I was to do it again, I just would do completely differently. I mean, in a way it was fine, but it wasn't great long term. So we probably spent about 2 years, maybe just under, but almost not working within, and this is all within the UK market. So I was doing anything within London, then we started doing stuff all across the UK. But to be honest with you, we would do a bit here, a bit there. I'd place an interior designer 1 minute, then I'd place an MD for a fit out company in London. And it was just a bit of it was a bit unorganized, making money, but it wasn't ideal. We then stumbled across because again, by this point, by the time you get into 2017, 2018, recruitment is getting more and more saturated. So very different to when I started in 2012. 2012 was fine, but I mean, it was getting saturated. So we started looking at the European market. We started focusing on relocating people from Australia, Middle East, back to Ireland, and we rebranded the business. I actually left the mentor guy, went our separate ways. He still, I spoke to him recently actually. But yeah, and then we went off, rebranded the company to Charles and Charles. So that's my middle name. And it's also my mate's middle name. So that worked out quite nicely. And then we kind of focused on more of an emphasis on automation and marketing. So the pitch to our clients in Ireland, we didn't know the Ireland market, and we didn't know any of the companies. We didn't have any candidates, so we're using automation tools to get the candidates, and we're using automation in some areas to get the clients. And rather than selling the fact that we knew that we were interviewing the candidates face to face, which I'd always done previously, it was more about, right, how do you get your candidates? I'm like, right, we're 2 young guys, so we're like, right, we use automation, we use marketing, we do marketing campaigns in Middle East to attract people back to Ireland, and the clients kind of bought into that, to be honest.
You were the first ones to kind of pitch the AI that everyone else is using now.
Yeah.
You were kind of the first ones to actually, I guess, test it out for the market and make it a success.
Yeah. We weren't pitching the fact that we were necessarily industry experts from a, understand, even though I did understand what the candidates did. It was more about, okay, you want candidates, there's no candidates in the market, we will give you access to as many as we can by expanding the reach, because your reach is doubling and we're looking at Canada, Australia. So that was kind of the sell, and we focused on one role within construction. It's all senior level stuff. COVID then happened, and we spent the time investing in the database and the system, which I think is really important. That's something that I'm big on at the moment. And then the business just kind of started to move up from there. So, then this takes us to present day. So now we moved office in London. So we've got, I think there's 9 people in London. There's 5 people in Dubai. And I've got my mum who works from home, and then we've got 1 person in the Philippines, in Manila. So yeah, there's 15, 16 of us. We now recruit across. We don't actually do UK at all. We don't really do too much in Ireland and Europe anymore, and 95% of our business is in the US.
So how did you make that switch from recruiting for Europe to the US, and what was the reason for that?
First time I went to America, but first I went to America without my parents. I went to Miami, and I thought, this is a bit of, I wouldn't mind living here. So But yeah, at the time, obviously, I was trying to work out how to do that. And that was just not even, again, not a viable option. But
And Dubai is so much better anyway.
yeah. I mean, Dubai's great. So, but yeah, when I started researching the US market, so we were doing fees for. I mean, we were messing around with placing. I mean, sometimes we're placing candidates for 4 or 5K in the UK. So, started to understand that the fees. Done some research, applied the same model and systems and processes of what we did to create a business in the Ireland and Europe market, applied it to the US, very much set out a system, researched on what fees we could get, realised that they were a lot higher. Average fee in let's say Ireland and Europe might be about 8-9K euros. Average fee in the US probably about $25K for us. You can get higher. So yeah, we just applied the system processes that we had already, and then just applied it to a new market, and then went through it state by state. And I mean, this probably won't make a lot of sense to many people because we're in Dubai. So it's kind of like, well, what are you doing running a US?
Well, do you know what? There's obviously a lot of people in the UK that run a US business. So I think they might be interested, or they just do US recruitment. They could be interested in finding out, how you're finding the time difference and how you're actually finding how you kind of run it and how these tools help you to be able to combat the time difference, because it is quite big.
Yeah,
it's basically like recruiting Australia from the UK.
Yeah. I think it's all about the platform. So I think starting a business is difficult. But if you've got the platform there, so to recruit in, it makes what you're doing easier. For me, if I had the platform there, I would have potentially done that versus maybe even start my own business. But in Dubai, with it being tax-free, there's essentially, you can build a better platform for the people. The only downside is, oh no, you're working a role for $30K, $40K, and it's tax-free. I mean, the fact that you've got to wake up a little bit later and go to bed later.
Waking up late.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked at the list of, so for me, it was about creating a good opportunity for everybody in the business, and an opportunity which I would have wanted myself. Dubai's great, and I've been coming here since COVID, and I really liked it, and actually was quite surprised because it wasn't necessarily somewhere which I thought I'd really want to go to, and I can expand on that a bit later. But yeah, for me, listing the negative, the downsides, which is the time zone, I actually just I get up at 10, go to the gym, or if I'm not going to the gym, I just chill, go swim, go to the pool, have a little bit of a walk. Have a
lovely morning.
Have my day, or even just plan do some of the business stuff that needs to be done, and then we all get to the office. So with the 5 of us that here, we all get to the office for around 1:30, which is only between 1:30 and 2, which is sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock UK time, and then really the US so it actually gives us an opportunity to plan our day.
Get your admin out the way.
Exactly, get your admin out the way, start planning who you want to call, start working out who we want to send out to our clients. You can do stuff on LinkedIn, you can organise, you can focus. So there's a lot you can do, which I've found, and you can do that from the UK when doing the US market anyway. But I actually found when I was doing the UK market in the UK, I get to work and it's just panic the minute I get in. And to be honest, if you're disorganised and you've got clients calling you I have clients calling me at 7:30 sometimes. So you've got to structure your calls in a way where and to be honest with you, so much is done via email anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of the business development is done via email. So that's a difference. It's not a case of having to call them before and after work. And if you're doing the US market from the UK, you can't really call people after work anyway. So you can't call people after work in Dubai. But the benefit is you call them before work, which if you don't wake up early in America, you're not calling them before work.
Yeah.
So I actually think it's fine. Personally, I think it's okay. And the tax-free thing, to me, I don't mind too much, but it's good for everybody else. So for me, the way that I see it is if people are earning serious money, it's not I'm happy because oh, I'm happy sitting around loads of money. That's not actually what it's about. I'm happy because they're earning money. They're happy. We can create a good environment. We can do cool stuff. We did, like, for example, went to Mykonos last year. I want to be doing stuff like that. And if everybody's successful
Yeah,
and
I
enjoying
think
their lifestyle here.
it seems to be a recurring theme where actually the best recruiters, they are moving here to Dubai because, you know, they are saving 40% on the tax that they've been paying, and it's a great place to live. So a lot of companies actually open offices here for the sole purpose of attracting these top billers who perhaps they wouldn't be able to attract back home in the UK.
Yeah, this is another point, because in London it's very competitive, and you got to work out what your competitive advantage is against other recruitment companies. So I'm not arrogant enough to think, oh, we're way, way, way better than anybody else. Like, whilst I think we've got a good business, but you need to really train people from within because you want everyone to adopt a way of working. You, of course, want to attract people from outside, but realistically, I think if you're building a business model to nick talent out, it can be quite challenging. Still got the London office because I think it's good to have. We've got really good people in there, and they've always got the opportunity to come here if they want to. And in a way, for us, it could be an opportunity to get people settled into London to then potentially bring over here. But again, we'll see what the future holds. But I think realistically, I don't need to sell the business to people anymore if I want to attract them.
I mean, the placement I made with you was the easiest placement of my life. So
yeah, I just sell Dubai, really. I don't really need to sell Dubai anyway. Dubai will sell itself. So I can attract better people. So it's a win for me. And whilst they're out here, they're making more money, so they're less likely to potentially leave,
and they've got a better lifestyle in general. I mean, the sun is shining. They can go to the gym at lunchtime, which seems to be an ambition for everyone. I mean, I absolutely miss going to the gym at lunch now that I'm in the office every day. And yeah, it's just a better life. You could travel more because you're literally right in the center of the world. So I think it's better for people to live here anyway. I think if everyone listened to me and just moved here, then I'd be very happy. But obviously some people are sort of tied back home and they don't want to do that. So I think it's good that you've got the London office and the Dubai office for to give people options.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when I first started coming during the COVID stuff, I came here for a month and was fine. I think at the time there was only 3 of us in the business. Was working from here, and I liked the fact that it was very international. So there were people from all over the world that were coming here to actually progress themselves, which I thought was quite good because I was meeting other people that were on the same page as me. And I started to recognise, aside from the nonsense that you'd see on Instagram of some people thinking, oh, I don't know, that's not really for me. But actually, when you start spending some time here and you start going to the different places, and it's just not, some of the more obvious places, you can actually find what it is that you like. And I actually started thinking, you know what, this could be a decent place. And from setting up a business perspective, I do have a company in America, but in terms of the visa situation, Dubai is far easier than the US.
Everyone's on a visa.
Exactly, because
so
everyone's
they don't
on a
make
visa.
it difficult. You don't have to prove anything, or that you've advertised it for people who are local. Obviously, there are Emiratization rules and everything, but that's not going to kick in for you for a long time, or for me.
Yeah.
You have to have a big number of employees for that to apply. But you mentioned earlier that when you first came to Dubai, there was a few things that you weren't sure that you were going to like about it. So what's so good about Dubai that made you actually come here and stay?
So I think it's the people. So the people aspect is everyone's in the same boat. So essentially you've got people that have a lot of drive because they kind of they'd have to move anyway. So I always respect people that move country, just period. So that could be people that move to the UK because they've come there for to improve their lives. So for me, you've got everybody has come here to improve their life. So, and people are actually, rather than just going home and kind of, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I mean, if you're just going to sit there and just do nothing, I mean, here people are a bit more active. They're a bit more willing to go out and do stuff, meet different people. Just seems to be. I just found that people are just generally more proactive than the UK. That's not completely UK as a whole, but that's just my experience here. Again, for me, as I've got older, look, going in London when you're in your early 20s is great because you're running around and you're going into the pubs and dipping in and out of places. And when you're in recruitment, there's a lot of that going on. But then for me, after a while, it just becomes a bit tiring, and I'm not really interested in doing that. So I would rather go to a nice restaurant and have a few drinks maybe, and it'd be a bit more manageable. And I think it's a little bit more controlled here for me anyway. But to be fair, you can find the chaos if you really want to. But it's more day. There's a lot more day things, which is good. And that's to be fair, that's pretty helpful. I mentioned the gym thing. And that's just to be honest with you. I know that's what I like doing. But again, for the people who come in here, and I'm trying to make a situation attractive to people coming here for my business. If people want to go for runs, there's that. I mean, there's that in London as well, but I mean, I personally don't be running when it's pissing down, and that's just me.
Or when it's 50 degrees outside.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's 50 degrees outside, you just
stay inside.
You just run on a treadmill, so that's fine. But the sun, and it's very hard to. And again, people will know what I mean by this, but I would get to October, November, and just basically go, I'm not really interested in going out at all. This is in London, and it's just
sit
miserable.
On the sofa with a blanket, watch a film, and just not do anything.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mind in a sense of I would go into more. I would always try and go away in December. I always wanted the business to be in a way where I'd encourage everybody to use that time. We would have 2 weeks off over Christmas, and that was actually because I wanted to do that, and I wanted everybody also to take a break. I think it's probably wise to take breaks. Maybe this is just my experience, to take breaks towards the end of the year, because if you're busy during the summer, you don't want to be handicapping yourself when in your busiest months. So I'd just take that chance to go away. But in the UK, I almost wouldn't be interested in going out because
you're just counting down to your next holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
And you always want. What I find really good about Dubai, actually, for myself, is normally if I was living in London, every holiday I wanted to go to was a beach holiday, and I'd be like, oh, I'd love to go to Japan, but I really need to go to the beach. I really need to be in the sun.
Yeah.
Whereas here, because we've got the beach, we've got the pools, we've got the sun all the time, I actually want to do, I guess, more interesting things where I actually do want to go sightseeing, and I do want to go to Tokyo or go to China, go to these destinations where there isn't necessarily the sunshine on the beach, because I've got that every day.
Yeah, this is true. So for me, it's about at least we've still got the office in London, so it's about what I'm trying to do is just create a platform which I would have wanted, and then to give people the choice of how they want to live. And recruitment, as we all know, you can make decent money in it, obviously. So but then not everybody's happy with the way that they do it. Yeah. So for me, I just kind of figure that if I do it the way that I would like to do it, and then if people like that,
and you'll attract the people,
then I'll attract the people
that
that want to do it the way that I want to do it. And if people actually want to get on and make some money and do it in an environment which suits them, whether that is the UK or whether not, because we did have a good time in London, and I do think it's a really good place for your early 20s. But I think if you're somebody that's maybe thinking, okay, I wouldn't mind a new challenge, the fact that anybody can now kind of come here, great.
Yeah. And when we spoke before, you mentioned that what's really important to you kind of in your business and in your team is people, with like a positive mindset, and people who are a little bit more interested in, being healthy, not necessarily just drinking and going out.
So for me, as somebody that's running the business, or anybody that's running a business, I personally believe that rather than just telling people what to do, I should be leading by example. So it's all general personal development. I think is good. So investing in like watching podcasts. I don't read
Or recording podcasts.
Yeah, recording podcasts. I mean, I don't necessarily read any books, but I prefer to just listen to stuff, and it is a constant journey. So I think that as long as I go into work and people can actively see, and I am actually trying to do my best, then even if they just kind of somewhat, in a way, not have to copy me, but if they look at me and go, right, to be fair, Sheldon's like getting on the phone. Sheldon is also like balanced in how he's living his life. He's still enjoying himself, but like he's pretty serious at what he's doing. I think that's a good way to go about doing things. And that's the way that I've always tried to,
Yeah, you can't kind of tell people what to do. You kind of have to show them
I think
what to do, and that it works as well. Leading by example, but actually, making sure that you're a good example too.
And I want, and it's not, and for me, so when I went from the first business that I worked for, and it was fun, but it was like Wolf on Wall Street, and it was chaos, and it wasn't really promoting. Let's face it, it's not good for the mindset if you're constantly doing that. Like, fun, yes, whilst you're in your 20s, maybe, but like if you're going out on any night and it's a Tuesday and then people are coming into work after 2 hours sleep, I just don't think that's, I don't actually want to see that myself. So then when I went into the other environment when I was there for about 2.5, 3 years prior to leaving that setup and rebranding the business, what I saw there was the guy that ran it would do annual trips, and everyone was in a decent way. And I looked around me and I thought, okay, there's some serious people here. So I think it's nicer. And we've done trips we did a Christmas party to Paris. We went to Ibiza. We've done, and that's more of a whole company thing. And I believe in just doing decent stuff. I mean, if you want to go and people want to go and do that, that's fine. But just, I think that we should be creating an environment that's actually, I think if you can do recruitment, you do it to actually make some money, first of all. You do it to learn in the beginning, but then you need to be making some money because, it can be...
It's a hard job.
It's not easy.
Too hard of a job to not be making money,
Exactly.
I think.
So it's like, why... My philosophy is, why even bother if you're not making any money?
Yeah.
And then also, if you're just going to go and get battered every week, this is just my view. If you're going to go and get battered every week, also then what's the point? So it's like, I wasn't happy with myself necessarily. It was, again, work in progress. But, okay, I'm doing all right. But I'm not being productive outside of work because that is almost my life. So I want it to be sustainable for people. And also, I believe that for example, it's even like the mafia where they all no, but like the mafia of all, they start the family and they all help each other. And I think the fist is better than the fingers, right? So you've got hunt as a pack.
Yeah.
I believe that if you're in an environment where you've got people that are winning around each other and sharing candidates and sharing clients, and you can look at you creating a winning environment where you're like, fair play, this person is absolutely smashing it. It is actually possible because you'll have your own limiting beliefs as to what's actually achievable and what's not. And you're, again, whether or not you're in Dubai or whether or not you're in the UK, but if you've then got money, for example, that you want to invest in something, who knows, right? Maybe down the line we can all look at investing in something together. It might be an opportunity to, I don't know, whatever. It could be something that's outside of recruitment that we all find really interesting. We go, okay, right, I want 10 grand from you, 10 grand from you, 10 grand from you. If you're in a winning environment and you've got people that are actually on it, you can do that rather than just single-handedly thinking, oh, okay, I guess I'll just buy a house outside London, which again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but like, ultimately people will normally buy a house with their partner because they can do it faster rather than do it on their own. So I just believe that in business, we create an environment where everybody's winning, everyone's making money,
everyone's happy, everyone's traveling,
everyone's
healthy.
happy. Again, I know that people want to be traveling, and this is good, and I think it's great because it expands your mindset. So for me, my focus at the moment is just making sure this is good, and I will still, in fairness, I still do go away, to be fair, quite a bit actually, but it's you look, your life doesn't have to just go fum like this. Like, it can go, you can take some turns along the way, and you might have a moment where you're actually saying, okay, I'm okay with where I'm at. If you're genuinely okay with, for example, doing one deal and it's 20k a month and you're fine with that, then I'm fine with that.
Just don't sit and
But
complain.
I don't want people complaining. I don't want people complaining that they're not making enough money, because but I think if you are happy, then for me, again, in many recruitment businesses, it can get relentless, because it's like, oh, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. I remember have 3 good months at the very start of billing, and I'm getting told,
it's not enough.
It's not enough. You're this, you're that. And it's just like, come on. It's just, it doesn't have to be like that, I don't think. So,
yeah. I definitely appreciate, now that I'm on my own, the sort of, I think I told you this, the rewarding environment. When I was just sat there, I was like, I wish I had a boss. I had such a great day. No one came to me, tapped me on my shoulder. And I have been in these environments, but I've also have been in an environment where, I'd have a great month, and then someone would come to me at 3:00 on a Friday and be like, well, you've only spent 10 hours on the phone, your target's 15. And I'm just like, what do you want me to do? Like, I've just made you 40 grand this week. Like, leave me alone.
There is definitely, and in fairness, it's difficult, because it's a mindset thing. So for me, look, I don't mind people necessarily working from home, but as an example, you wouldn't move to London to sit in your bedroom, I don't think. So you should want to be in an environment with other people. So because the most important thing is that you're learning and
sharing candidates.
Exactly. And so the learning is actually really, really, really important. But it's doing that in an environment where I guess you want to be in. There is a place for a more strict setup, and ultimately it can be quite good for certain types of people, because it drills it into you. So, for example, I'm not going to sit here because ultimately my learning curve is much greater, and I actually also do believe that you need to be picking up the phone a lot, to be fair, ideally, because just from your own learning perspective, I just think that if you're picking up the phone a lot, you're learning. So, but that, I want people to understand why they should be doing it, not to just tell them to do it. They should understand that.
I mean, the old recruitment tricks, when you just call a switchboard and put your phone on the side for half an hour.
Yeah,
it's pointless.
It's absolutely pointless. Like, people just doing it just for the sake of it, or just to show that, oh, I've called 20 people. I don't understand that. And also, I do believe recruitment has, so we've got a system which I've developed where we use software, and we don't really work the jobs, we work the candidates. And I think it's about the candidate. You find a market which has got a candidate shortage, and you take the candidate to market, and you can build more. I've found you can make more money, but also you're less holden to the clients. And it's just strategically, we've got a process which works in new markets. So, you don't need to pick up the phone as much, but you do need to. You should do it for your own development.
Yeah, you learn about the market from the candidates the most anyway. Like, no one else will tell you as much about the market as the candidate will.
I said to you before, the recruitment stuff, really, in all honesty, I think it's about you. I think it's about people in the company than it is necessarily about the industry, because ultimately the industry that we're working in, so for example, where we're working in construction, we do not know more about construction than they do, and they don't want to hear whether or not I think somebody's good or not, because in their eyes, I'm just a recruiter and I don't know anything. So I'm here to give them options, and ultimately, if I'm getting options by using creative tools and automation, all this stuff, it doesn't really matter. I'm just presenting multiple options to them, rather than sitting there and saying that I've And that's why the fact they're in Dubai doesn't really matter, because some people think, "How the hell is he doing?" You know, I mean, again, I know we've got Zoom and stuff, and that's fine. But in all honesty, most clients, they just want a decent person, and they want you to make sure that you deliver. So, okay, I'm presenting you this candidate, and I'm going to get them over the line for you, versus somebody that sat there, flown to bloody New York, and that's just the way that we go about doing our business development. It's taking candidates to market, being consistent, and consistency is just really important, and not turning the BD machine off, because I've found from personal experience, you turn that off and it will come crumbling down. But it's a lead generation. It's for lead generation. Yeah. And the hope is then it's just easy to, well, I don't want to be too. I want to build client relationships, but I don't want a client to me to feel that I can't go on holiday because, oh no, I need to fill this role.
Yeah.
I want to manage that in a way which, I mean, they are the clients at the end of the day, but it's it's just managed how I want to do it. And I think, to be fair, the clients will be happy with that, because the clients want to know that they've got somebody who's confident that can actually get them a person, rather than sitting there giving them nonsense and wasting their time doing pointless meetings and not delivering.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think rec to rec is different, because I do work very closely with my clients and my candidates. But exactly. I really understand the industry because I've been in that industry. But for you guys, or when I used to do finance, I was 2 years into my recruitment career, no idea about finance apart from doing one module at uni. It's like I've got nothing to say to them. Yeah. I can tell them a little bit about the recruitment market, but at the end of the day, they have a job and they want the candidates.
It is different for you because you do recruitment, and your clients also do that. So you have your own experience of the same industry, and there's an interest there, and you've got similar shared experiences. Whereas for me personally, I think you have to be authentic to yourself, and I wouldn't want to pretend to the clients that I'm genuinely that interested in it, but it's for me, I think that's absolutely fine. And actually I think they actually quite appreciate that I'm here because I deliver. And I think that like I say, in your case, it's good because you can talk about similar things, and you can say, oh, okay, well, this works in this person's business, and you can add value in different ways.
You like the gym, you can work for Sheldon.
But yeah, you add value in a different way. And I think for me, it's about adding value in a way which is authentic to you. And for me, we've got a system that maybe perhaps is, I don't think it's that different. I mean, it's not groundbreaking or anything, but yeah, the clients.
It works. And I think it is different, because I personally have not heard about any company sort of doing things the way you do it and it actually working very well. There's a lot of companies that do use these automation tools, but I don't think to the level that you guys use them, because you showed me the things that you guys do, and I just think it's absolutely incredible. And it works. Everyone's delivering. You guys are going to Vegas in a few months, hopefully, from one desert to another.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So ultimately the client, and also I want to work with clients that get to they get to the program. This is how we work. The clients that don't want to work, they don't like it. That's not a problem. That's fine, because they'll find other people that want to work their way. And the clients that like the way that we do it will value the way that we're doing it.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I think and that's what I think business is about. I think there'll be people that don't want to do things in the way that you want to. And that's absolutely fine. And I've done the days of running around London in the suit and interviewing people.
Can't imagine you in a suit.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's good. And I think it's a good learning experience. But I'm not going to start kissing the backside, just because.
Yeah.
For me. So, I mean, look, if you're doing it, again, just come back to obviously the Dubai thing. I mean, there is also a difference between doing that here, and we don't do the Dubai market, but again, it would potentially be nicer to do client visits in a nicer environment. But again, for me, and even when we're in London, the people in London, they're obviously not meeting the clients face to face. And it's not to say that we wouldn't fly over to America, but for God's sake, at least do stuff on your own terms.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's all about. I actually think it's more about doing stuff on your own terms. I think that's why, you know, if you feel that you'll thrive better in an environment, for example, like here, then I think that it's good to be here. If you feel happier and you're on more on your terms, it's about creating a life that you actually want to enjoy.
Amazing.
And do, rather than getting upset because you've woke up hungover because you've taken a client out that you don't actually want to speak to. And yeah, I'm not really about that, to be fair.
Well, so that leads me quite nicely to my last question, which is what's next for the Charles and Charles Group? What are you guys working on? What are
we working on? So currently we're doing, so a friend of mine has a creative agency, and they've done, he used to work for a company called Gaffer Magazine, and doing stuff for them. So we're rebranding the business in a way which elevates the brand. I think, and again, what I want to do is I want to focus on the personal branding side for everybody, so myself included. And I think there's an opportunity for again, clients, but also other opportunities to come about, because actually we're doing some interesting stuff, but then I've recognised it's important for that to be seen. So we're starting off with the brand, and that'll be new website. That'll be done soon. For me, it's just I want everybody to just do well and do fun stuff. So I think we're building a resourcing team in the Philippines. So we had somebody start there at the start of the year, and it's just a case of expanding that out. I don't believe that recruiters should be doing too much in the way of admin. I think we're paid big fees to not be doing admin.
Yeah.
So
and everyone hates it as well.
And everybody hates it.
Yeah,
again, you sales, you want to be doing sales. So I'm really focused on, for me, building that team out so that I make the platform as easy as possible. And then just aside from that, the branding stuff, just the personal branding. I mean, even like, for example, with you, just, you know, you've been doing great with that in terms of posting stuff on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
But it's good because that's building.
That's how you found me.
Exactly. It's building trust. Not that we're necessarily looking to do it with our clients, but I think that if you look at, for example, you should look at other industries. If you looked at Selling Sunset as an example, just using that as an example.
Okay.
But if you look at the team there, they've got a TV program on Netflix, but they get an opportunity to get brand deals, and people are interested in what they're doing outside of the selling the home stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that if everybody in the business can build their own personal brands, who knows? You know, you could be doing, it could be the recruitment stuff, and you're living your life in Dubai as an international recruiter, but then also you're doing, what am I wearing to work today? And then you're getting deals with fashion brands.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about, and I've always wanted to look at other stuff outside of recruitment, but actually recruitment is great. I've been in it for 12 years now. And I think that rather than people feeling like they're stuck in it, I think that there's an opportunity to make it more, to work on the branding for everybody, work on the branding for the business. Who knows?
Tie that all together.
And tie it all together, because there's no reason why that should be separate. And I think people will find it interesting. And actually, I happen to think that, particularly with the candidates getting younger, and well, the candidates aren't actually getting younger, but the younger candidates are more in tune with social media. I think, to be fair, they probably quite like it. I think, and actually,
I like it.
Actually, to be fair, if I tell a candidate, I'm like, I live in Dubai. I told one yesterday, this is what I'm doing. They remember you. So if you're the Dubai recruiter that also does, this is what I wear to work every day, and we're in a sick office, I think, who knows, you might get a sponsorship from, God knows,
Nike.
You just don't know. You just don't know. So yeah, I want to focus on that, and obviously make some money along the way.
No,
Of course.
with the social media stuff, I mean, that's what me and Rachel kind of have started doing, where, you know, we don't really take lunch breaks. It's just me and her. But we'll sit down and we're like, oh, let's just record some TikToks. Let's just do that. And then, I mean, they're doing a lot better on LinkedIn than they are on actual TikTok. So I don't think we're anywhere near sponsorships, but we're shocked that we don't have 50,000 followers yet, because we're actually hilarious. So hopefully it will come, but I'm sure you guys will do really well. And yeah, well, look, thank you so much for coming on the Recruitment Unfiltered podcast.
Nice.
And then I will see you soon.
Yep.